Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, today we're taking a look at a light that has been sent to me by Zhiyun, and it's the Zhiyun Molus G200 cob LED light. I say cob, it basically means it's a chip on board, so the manufacturing process is slightly different, or it's quite a bit different to the conventional LEDs. You get a much brighter output, a much better quality output. It's got a colour range index of 95, so it's really high up there. It's a really high quality, constant colour LED light. And the reason why I say the colour range index, a lot of the cheaper LED lights have got a really low colour index, and they get a colour cast, could be green, could be red colour cast. With this light, you don't get any colour casting. So if you've set it to say 5600 Kelvin, which is what I use in my studio here, it will be 5600 Kelvin. You're not going to get a colour cast. So you can balance it with other lights so much better. It's a really nice compact light. Now, they made it 200 watt. If you compare that with my other lights I've got here, which are 60 watt lights, they're really bulky. They really are bulky. What Zhiyun have done, I think it's a really clever move. They manufactured this really compact light, and it comes with its bracket. So the bracket is actually moulded to the light, which is really handy. Don't have to worry about looking for it. How many times do I lose my brackets? All the time. It's a mains powered light, so it's not battery operated. So you need to be near a mains outlet to be able to use the light. Well, that's fine if you go into a location, either somebody's office or if you're using it in the studio. That's not a problem whatsoever. And what they've done to make this so compact, look how compact that is. There's nothing to that. It is really small. And to make it compact, they've separated out the power block to the light. Where other traditional lights, I say traditional, from most of the other manufacturers, the power supply is actually in the light. So it makes it bulky. With this one, it isn't bulky. The power supply is a completely separate unit. So very handy. And there's fans in both the light itself and in the power supply. So keeps it cool. And the thing is, I've noticed, I've been playing with this quite a bit actually, I don't actually notice the fan noise. You can use it for video. It is a constant LED light, so it is designed for video use. I don't notice the noise whatsoever, even when you blast in it at 200 watts. Now you have to again bear in mind, I'm running my 60 watt lights at around about half power. The one up there, which is creating the most power, is running at about 48, well it is 48% of power. So that's running at about 30 watt output. That one's running at about, I think it's 10% or even 6% of power. So that's running at next to nothing. Now this one here is a 200 watt output. So I'd probably need to run that at about 3 or 4%. So that gives you an indication how much power. I'm going to turn it on in a minute so you can see anyway. But that gives you an indication how much power there is in this light. And I think that is amazing. So if you are shooting, let's say you're shooting into light, so you want to balance it with the daylight coming in through a window, this light will do that absolutely no problem whatsoever. It will blast out, it will provide enough power really to blast out any other light that's coming in that you might want to do so, to balance it. So tremendous power, but it's got another trick up its sleeve. It can go up to 300 watt. If you hold both, there's two buttons basically on the control unit. So as well as being a power supply, it is actually the control unit. And there's two buttons here. One is a dimmer switch and one is your Kelvin knob. So you can adjust the colour temperature of the light. But if you hold both in, that pumps it up to 300 watt power. Now it does get hot at 300 watt, so the fans do kick in. So you have to be conscious of that. You don't want to be touching it when it's at 300 watt power, and it can run for a long time. I tend not to use these controls on the panel here. Now you can do, let me just take off the this protector. It's got a Bowens mount, so you can fit any standard Bowens fit. It could be reflectors, it could be soft boxes, whatever you want to put on here. It's a standard Bowens mount, so you don't have to buy the Zhiyun branded ones. You can buy any branded mount whatsoever. It does come with a reflector It's a nice reflector, nothing wrong with that reflector whatsoever, well made. It does come with that. But it also comes fitted in this, I don't know if you're not going to be able to get it in the shot, am I? This really, really nice travel bag. So everything fits in this bag very, very nicely. So if you are going out on a shoot and you want to put it in the bag, that's not going to be an issue whatsoever. It's very, very well padded. So that'll protect, it's probably knocking my microphone all over the place. That'll protect the gear that's inside, the light inside, without any problem whatsoever. And obviously this protector also protects the LEDs when you're traveling. So very, very well thought out. And as I said, I love the fact that the actual power block is separated to the actual unit. So you can put this on a stand, you can mount it quite high up out the way and still be able to get to its controls rather than having to fiddle with the controls on the back of the unit. That's what really annoys me with the light that I'm using in that corner there. Now that's butted up against the wall, but I have to fiddle with the controls on the back without even being able to see what I'm doing because it's actually on the unit. With this, the controls are separated from the unit, but it goes one better than that. Let me just power it on for you so you can actually see what it does. That's the power on off switch is basically on the front here. So you've got the off and you've got the on switch there. And then you can adjust the brightness just by turning the this knob up and down. That's the dimmer switch. That'll go 10%, and then it goes up higher and higher and higher, right until you get. You can see that on my wide shot there. That is really, really going up really bright. I mean, you just keep turning that control dial. Can you see what I'm doing there? And just basically just turning that up and down, and then that light will go up or down. So that will off, if you turn it down too far, it goes right off and then up through the range, which is really good. And then and the little display there will show you, actually let's turn that off. The little display will show you where you are. It also shows you what colour temperature you've got set. So you use this knob here just to change the colour temperature. You can just push it in and that'll go through the different colour temperature range depending on what you want to balance it with, whether you want tungsten balanced or whether you want daylight balanced. You just do that, and that's all very straightforward. Then you've got, as I say, the on off switch on the back. But what I prefer to use, let's just take that right down. What I prefer to use though is the app. Now you can download the app. There is a QR code in the little instruction leaflet that comes with it to download the app for either Android or iPhone. I've downloaded it for iPhone, iOS. You can actually set up loads of different lights with it. I've just called this one Master. That'll just load up, and there we go. That's now in, and that's the actual home screen of the actual light. And then I can turn it on. I just literally hit the on off. I'll do it on that camera actually. I just hit the on off switch there. That'll turn it on. Oops, let's hit it properly. That'll turn it on, and then you can increase the brightness. It's at 0%. You can see there it's at 0%. So I can actually just increase the brightness. It's difficult doing it back to front, but you can increase the brightness just by doing that, and that takes it right the way up to 200%. And you can also set it to 300% or 300 watts, not 300%, 300 watts using the app. I'm not going to set it to 300 watts because it will just blast out this little room without any problem. And then you've got various other settings on the app that you can use to control the light. But I like to use the app because it's so straightforward, so straightforward. And again, it doesn't matter where you mount the light or even the control box for that matter, because you're not actually using the control box. You're using the app to control the light. And I think that is awesome. I mean, it's a really, really ideal piece of kit. And the fact that it's a 200 watt light with a 300 watt boost. As I say, with a 300 watt boost, you do get a bit of fan noise. I haven't noticed the fans kicking in at all playing around with it here. What I'm going to do is swap out that light for this light in just a moment, so you can actually see it in use in this environment. And I'm going to set it to 5600K, which is what I've got these lights set to. So we'll do that in just a moment. There will be links in the description of this video where you can purchase a light from or get more information. They also have a range of other lights. They've got portable lights as well as other mains lights. So it's well worth taking a look at their website. I'll leave a link in the description for that. But they're beautifully made. I hadn't come across Zhiyun lighting before. I've come across their gimbals before, and they're very, very well known for making fantastic quality gimbals. There is a music mode with this light, so if you want to create that sort of ambience and that look, particularly if you're taking video or photographs of music or of dancers, then you can set it to music mode, then the light will beat in synchronization with the music. Just so you know, the actual Kelvin range of this light is 2700 to 6500 Kelvin. So it covers the whole range from tungsten lighting, colour balanced lighting, daylight balanced lighting. So it covers the entire range, or if you want to create a different effect, it covers all of that. So a very, very flexible light as far as the colour temperature range that it has. If you really do need a really, really bright light, and you can see how bright this light can go, and I didn't even set it to the 300 watt maximum, but it's got a really impressive peak brightness of 85,800 lux if you're using the standard reflector. Obviously, if you're going to bounce it into into soft boxes or anything like that, that does come down a bit, but really, really impressive. So what I'm going to do now is actually replace that light with this light so you can actually see how bright this light goes. I will say what I also like with these fittings, I like these little nuts. Now, one or two people have criticised them being a bit small. I like that they're small. It's a compact light. And what I like is it's got the nut has got a little wing to it, so you can actually grab it nice and easily to actually tighten it up. And I've had no problems with the size of that. I think it's a great little nut actually for tightening up. And I say it's a standard mount, so it'll fit on any light stand. I've just fitted it on this cheap light stand I got here. There's been no problem with it whatsoever. And you can adjust the angle as well. So that's a useful little feature of this light. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take it off this stand here and put it up there and actually use it to light the scene. Just before I do put this light on the stand to light the scene, I'm actually only using two lights at the moment because I've taken the other light off. I did want to show you actually a comparison between the weight and size of this beast, which is only a 60 watt light, compared to this one. So this one here is only 80 watts. Look at the size of it. And I thought that was really compact when I got that one. That's really quite bulky, quite heavy. And you know, it's a nice light, does the job. That's an 80 watt light. Look how compact that one is compared to that, and that's only that's a 200 watt light, and it's mainly because they've separated the power supply. But I just wanted to show you that a comparison between the two. You know, when you can't really see that, you can't really tell that when, you know, this is on its own or that one's on its own. So there we go. Now I will definitely put it on the stand so you can actually light it up and you'll see how well it works. I've replaced the Ambitful FL80. This is the light I would normally use up in the corner up there. I've replaced it with the Molus G200 and it's running at 2.6% of power. 2.6%, and it's lighting this side of the face, and my face is still really bright at 2.6%. You can see here on my iPhone app 2.6%. So, and it's running at 5600 Kelvin, which is what obviously all the other lights, I say all the other lights, only two other lights, are set at. And so if I want to increase the brightness, which I'll do, and you'll see this side of the face will just blow out because I'm not running at auto ISO. I've got the ISO set to 100 ISO on my close-up camera and 160 ISO on my wide camera, mainly because of the two differences in the apertures on those cameras. The close-up camera is running at f1.8, the wide camera is running at f2.8 because that's the maximum that will go to. So let's now increase the power, say to, let's go to 10%, roughly, around about 11%, 11.6%. Look at that. I mean, I couldn't use that. That's just so bright. You can even see on the wide shot, that's only at 11% of its 200 watt power. So does that not give anyone an indication how amazing this light is? If we just, for the sheer hell of it, crack it up to 50%, well, that's just going to, I mean, 50%. I mean, look at that, 50% that's gone up to. I would never use it. I'd be running at about 2 or 3, maybe 4% in the studio here. And even if I use it as my firelight over there, it'd only be 8 or 9%. So the percentage is much, much lower than what these 60 watt lights are. Let's go up to, that's at 100% power. Well, obviously, you're not going to watch this video at 100% power. So let's take, there you go, look, 100% power. Now let's take that down to, as I say, I would run it at, it's probably about 2.6, that's 2.3%. That's a lot better. And as I say, I can adjust the Kelvin output if I wanted to create an effect. So I would probably use this light also for light in the background. I've not done that before, but I would create a colour gel. So I could create a different ambience on the background just by adjusting the Kelvin output of the light. So let's take that down to say 2700. So it's a, look at the difference in colour there. Very, very different sort of colour output. 2700 Kelvin at its bottom end, and it goes right up to 6500 Kelvin at its other end. So it goes from a warm right to a colder colour. But we would go back to 5600 or thereabouts. 5600. That's 5500, 5600 now. We've got that set to 5600, and that gives me a nice balance in the studio here because the cameras are set to 5600 and a really compact, a really small form factor, a lot smaller and a lot more compact than the traditional sort of design of lights, mainly because the control box is, you know, as I said before so many times, separated to the actual unit. And as I say, I've got the light up quite a distance up there, but the control box is on my desk here. So, you know, it's easy to separate out the control box to the actual light. So the control box is saying 5600 Kelvin running at 2%. You can see there. And if I did want to use the control box to adjust the dimmer or the brightness, I just control it from this knob here, as I said earlier, and that'll just take that right up. And then take that right back down again. We don't want it up. We want it back down there. That's now at 1%. That's probably even better. 2% we'll leave it at and go for a slightly bright. I might take that down a bit more. Yeah, brilliant design. And you don't hear the fans, as I say, when they're running at these sort of levels. It'll just go on and on and on. Great piece of kit. I really would like to thank Zhiyun for sending me this light for review. Really, really appreciate that. I'm going to be doing more with this light. I'll be doing another review on how I used it at a barber shop. I haven't used it yet. I will be using it at a barber shop for photography. Because it is a constant light and you can set it really bright, great for photography as well. So I'm going to experiment with that, and I'll let you guys and girls know how well I got on. I'll show you some sample photographs that I took, and that's going to be a separate video. But for now, that's an overview of the Zhiyun Molus G200 video stroke photography light. Thanks very much. I hope you found that useful. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Hit the like button if you like the content of my videos. Would really, really appreciate that. It does help me grow the channel. Thanks very much. Cheers for now. Bye.